What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today World War Z. As you watch this video, I want to try and explain something right up front, which is that in a lot of these clips, you're going to see some stuff that looks like mistakes. Times where I missed a shot where I was aiming at somebody's head, or when I'm swinging a chainsaw, I accidentally miss my target completely, and I want you to know these are not from lack of skill. These are actually errors that were made out of fear, because this game is legitimately terrifying sometimes. When you're trying to stare down the absolute armies of the undead, and there's thousands and thousands of creatures all stampeding towards you, it's going to be one of those times where we all make mistakes. That's part of the reason I love this game though, and the second I jumped into it, I instantly realized that despite the fact that this is just based on a movie with Brad Pitt and a book written by Max Brooks, this is something that's different. This is something that's special, and honestly, this is something that I'm probably going to be playing for months to come. So let's face facts, at its core, this is something that is essentially almost a sequel to Left 4 Dead. It's sort of a sequel in that it's very focused on co-op action, lots of trying to fight off millions of different zombies, and of course, it's very centered on replayability. You're going to be going through each of these maps several different times, but not because you have to, instead it's because you want to. Where it really manages to set itself apart though from other games in the genre is that World War Z has a lot of depth to it. Lots of different mechanics that let you upgrade yourself, customize your weapons, and tinker with how you want to play instead of just where you're going to play it. Now let's start off by talking about just a typical mission. There are over 10 of these in the game, and basically each one is centered on a different objective, like trying to get underground to set off some bombs, or maybe you're just trying to escape to a helicopter to get out of the city in time. But each one, despite having such a seemingly obvious objective, it's not always that easy. There's always going to be different special infected in your path that are going to be infecting you with a virus, slamming you around if you get caught by one of these giant guys in armor, or maybe you'll just encounter the Screamer, which is a special creature that's able to perpetually yell and call in tons and tons of the horde. But no matter which of these things that gets thrown into your path, the only way to really protect yourself is via teamwork. Now I just want to say, this game has the ability to be played with bots. It's actually possible, if you so choose to do so, to play this game completely by yourself. But you should not do it at all, for several reasons, but the biggest part is that this game is tough. You're going to be getting shredded to pieces if you're not constantly having your finger on the trigger and people around you who can smartly communicate. This game is tough. Even if you're playing it on the very easiest difficulty, people are going to die. And the other issue is the fact that the AI in this game is actually pretty dumb. Just as an experiment, at one point I decided to do a full playthrough of the game with computer-controlled companions, and I discovered that these people are so dumb they can't even really help with a lot of the missions. They can't pick up boxes, they can't really do much other than just fight. But that's not really a horrible thing, it's basically just the game trying to incentivize you to find some good buddies to back you up. Especially because this game really tries to pride itself on being complex. These levels are deep and pretty dang long, and so sometimes you'll be doing a weird mission where you're trying to get into a laboratory and get through all this poison gas, or maybe you're trying to steal a train from a subway, that way you can escape New York City in style. But each one of them always has several different objectives in it. You're sometimes going to be trying to hack a bunch of gel cells, the way you can get past a checkpoint, and then you're going to be setting up a defensive perimeter and unleashing a bunch of automated turrets and barbed wire to try and catch the infected. But here's something that really kind of caught my eye and really impressed me on the technical side of things, which is that this game manages to handle literally thousands of different creatures on screen at once. Like in a lot of these different clips here, you're seeing just hordes of people flooding towards you like an ocean of hands and teeth. But what's really cool is that there are definitely some really hidden tricks that are going on in here that I can't really see exactly how they did it. And that's kind of what I like. I like when a game is able to trick me, but so sometimes I'll see like these thousands and thousands of dudes running towards me, and I only have about 400 bullets in my clip, but despite this, I managed to shoot and kill kill all of them. So it seems like the game, it manages to trick you to some degree. I'm not exactly sure how, and I don't even want to know how. This game manages to so completely fool me into thinking that me and my squad are specifically taking down these infinite legions of the walking corpses by ourselves. And that's so cool. It really makes you feel strong. It really encourages you to really focus on that next fight. It really encourages you to yell out to your teammates, and really leads to some incredibly tense moments. Like, one of my favorite memories in this game, and I have lots of them, was at one point we were trying to fix this car, and so there was this scientist dude who's trying to fix this minivan, and he told us, okay, go find some car parts. You have 3 minutes to do so. So we all spread out and started to try and find every single car part we could and run it to him. But while we were doing this, there kept just being tons and tons of the undead showing up. They were piling over the walls. They were coming towards us in mass. And so we're trying to constantly scream at each other, shoot him! Oh my god, save me! Oh my god, I freaking need to reload! Okay, cool, you use your ability now! Alright, get out this chainsaw! And so in the end, we managed to score the very last part at the last possible second. And right as I handed it to this dude and the mission complete thing actually popped up on my screen, I yelled at the freaking monitor. I mean, I was so hyped that I managed to get through this impossible chaotic scenario that I was pure blown excited in just that raw, visceral way where you feel like you managed to win just by playing. But there's something else in this game that I think is going to keep people hooked on it for a very long time, which is that this game has a very, very cool leveling system. So basically, as you've noticed, there's lots of different characters. In each one of the different mission groups, basically there's 4 main characters. So throughout all of this, you're getting to play as lots of different cool heroes who all have their own very interesting backstories. But what's really important beyond this is that there's actually different classes. People like Gunslinger, Medic, people who have more specialities like Engineer. And basically, as you're playing them, they slowly level up. Doing well in missions, reviving your friends, and of course scoring tons of headshots earns you experience points and money, which is in-game. And then this is basically used on these talent trees. So here I've been leveling up Gunslinger a lot, so I can do things where getting a further headshot will actually reload part of my clip. I can make it where I can switch between weapons faster, or maybe even get additional health simply by getting high enough level. And you're going to need this stuff because the higher difficulties are insane. I mean, literally the highest difficulty is called Insanity, and that's what it is. In this, there are more zombies, they hurt you more, there's less ammunition, and team damage is turned way up, which means that if you miss a shot and strike one of your buddies in the panic, then they could die instantly, and revives become a lot more scarce. Now, something else that actually levels up, the better you do and the better you do in these higher difficulties, you can also level up specific weaponry to make it where a sniper rifle will actually do more damage, or you can even buy different kinds of sniper rifle. That way, when you find the weapons you like most in the map, when you pick it up, it'll be the one that you specifically have already purchased in the store using your in-game currency. I like this because it makes it where as you're going through the game, you want to try stuff again. You want to be good at it. This is not just one of those games that you're trying to beat once for the story or because you like the cutscenes. You're actually encouraged to go through it again and again for the experience points and for the extra talents and for the unlocks. And also because I do think it's pretty cool that the maps semi-randomize. Every single time you play through them, typically you'll have the same main objectives, but the quest pieces you need are actually all over the place, and the weapons a lot of times are randomized as well. So you end up just getting a sort of a different story every time you go with it. Now, I do want to say, the game isn't perfect. I did run into some problems here and there during all my hours with it, and some of them, in my opinion, are some pretty glaring problems. First and foremost, I did run into some pretty glitchy levels. Some of the missions have problems where you need to try and protect a particular NPC or something, and like 30% of the time, the guy will just end up standing in a corner and never move, so you just basically get screwed and have to restart the mission. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, and it's only a couple of spots, but I always get frustrated when I'm doing good and the game breaks. Now, beyond this, there is the situation of the fact that there is other kinds of multiplayer in this other than just the standard co-op, but I don't think it's very original. Basically, there are these versus modes where you can kill other players or you're trying to capture objectives for points, but none of this style of multiplayer feels particularly imaginative. It's kind of bare bones. The only other issue I have, and it is one that personally annoyed me the most, is that it seems seems like the missions are long, which is nice, but there are no checkpoints in it. Now this sounds like me just being like a weak gamer and complaining about a game being too difficult, but trust me, when you spend 40 minutes ever so slowly creeping your way through a parking garage, using silent weapons and trying to take down each foe systematically one by one, and you just get blindsided by a creeper and instantly killed, you're going to be a little bit frustrated that 40 minutes just instantly evaporated. Every time you die, you go back to the very beginning of the freaking mission, and it sometimes gets a little bit drug out, and it seems like something they may have done just to make the harder difficulty seem a little bit more impossibly hard. But overall, I had a blast with this. From start to finish, I got to meet cool people, scream at cool monsters, and honestly get some great upgrades to weapons that I learned to love over time. Okay, so we've heard some good and some bad, but let's go over to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving World War Z an 8 out of 10. If you're somebody who's really been itching for that next big co-op experience, something that you and some friends can get invested in, or maybe you can just start playing with strangers and end up making new friends, I highly recommend this game. It is something that is some great multiplayer and probably will be something I play for many months to come. I'm actually going to say I'm very much already looking forward to some DLC missions, that way we can get even more of this. I loved fighting in Moscow, I loved fighting in America, I loved fighting in Japan. All of these settings are great, and really, since this is an entire World War Z, maybe that just means that there could be unlimited potential of further missions we get to enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.